So I knew I had to follow Dee Brown, one of the best basketball players that has left the University of Illinois. I had no idea I had to follow that. So this better be good. 15 minutes. I don't have many talents to show you. So one of the talks that actually took place today was perfect. Patrick came up here and told you that he went online and Googled how to become an entrepreneur or how to start a company. And actually that's what I'm here to talk about. That there is no rule book, there are no cookbooks, there are no 6 steps to become an entrepreneur. And I thought maybe I'd share my journey with you instead of coming up here and trying to tell you that there are. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I was born in Poland. At the age of 2, my mom and my dad moved to Chicago. Shortly thereafter, they actually divorced, my mom being a single parent with me living in a family basement basically in Chicago. And she worked at a factory. They produced lights for aircraft. The strobe lights that you see landing at O'Hare, basically the lights that are on the ends of the wings, my mom probably built a couple of those. My stepdad was the general manager at this plant, and that's how they met. He was actually her manager, and his uncle owned the plant. After hours, they actually had their own cleaning business, so my stepdad did, and his only customer really was this factory, but there was some entrepreneurship there. They met, they started dating. My stepdad would clean this factory after hours. After a couple of years, more customers started signing on. We moved to Bensenville, Illinois, right by the airport actually, at the age of 8, and the business started booming. And at the age of 8, they started getting more and more medical offices. That was actually a sweet spot for the business. And they were cleaning these medical offices, didn't really know what to do with me. So they had to take me along. Now, I'm 8 years old. They're taking me along at night to these medical offices to clean them. What am I supposed to do, right? And they had to clean them at night because during the day there's business going on. So I tried to keep myself occupied. We had a vacuum cleaner that was just really broken. Let's just leave it at that. And for some reason, these doctors and nurses at this medical center simply could not keep the staples inside the paper. And they would end up all over the floor, they'd step on them, and they'd get ingrained in the actual carpet. So I made my stepdad a deal. I'd say for every staple I pull out that the vacuum cleaner doesn't have to suck up, you give me 1 penny. And he accepted. That's how I became an entrepreneur. I sat there on my hands and knees. On a good day, I'd clear $1. Now, that's how I became an entrepreneur. So they caught me one day in one of the side offices with a stapler. That's how I learned ethics. Thank you. So at the age of 14, here I am screwing around with the family computer. And I loved video games. We couldn't afford them, but I loved them, so I stole them. I went online, I pirated video games all day long. I had a big library. Thank you. To this day, my mom is probably the biggest pirate online with videos, actual movies, so I didn't tell you that though. So I would pirate these video games. I'd download them. Everybody's done it. And unfortunately, one of them had malware, a virus embedded in it. And so I install it, all of a sudden, pop-ups are coming up all over the computer. I don't know what to do. My mom's about to kick my ass. So I sit there and I realize I have to solve the problem. I've caused it, I have to solve the problem. So I went online, I Googled my symptoms, think WebMD, and found a support forum of people, just a random community online after Googling that I posted my question on. I said, hey, I'm getting these pop-ups, here's what's happening. And a 30-year-old woman from Belgium named Mika actually walked me through a super manual process of getting rid of the malware on the computer, the virus off of the computer. The pop-ups were gone, everything was great. And that blew my mind. There was hundreds of people on this community that were spending their free time helping people like me fix their computer. To me, they were heroes. And I wanted to be one of those heroes. And so I decided to stick around this community, and I decided to try to help these people as well. And I actually picked up one of those yellow 4 Dummies books on Visual Basic, and that's how I learned how to program. And it's super embarrassing to try to read one of those, but it really taught me how to program. And I went online, and I started building these freeware applications for these people, and trying to automate that, and trying to become that hero. And there I met a guy named Bruce Harrison, and Bruce is the co-founder of Malwarebytes. But when I first met him, he was working at a repair shop in the middle of Massachusetts, near Boston. It's 6 hours outside of Boston, in the middle of nowhere. One stop sign in this town. And he knew a lot about malware. He seemed like a friendly guy, and I decided to send him a message one day. He knew a lot about malware. He worked at a repair shop, and I sent a message, very simple. Do you want to build an anti-malware product? And as anticlimactic as it sounds, his answer was simply yes. So we got to work, and he's 30 years old at the time. So here's me talking to my mom about this 30-year-old guy I'm talking to online building an anti-malware product. And here's him talking to his wife saying, yeah, I'm talking to this 16-year-old kid building an anti-malware product. But it worked. You know, for the next 4 years, I went to football practice. This was high school. And in 2008, the year I actually went down to the University of Illinois, but in January of 2008, we launched the first version of the product. And nothing, diddly squat. This community somewhat used it. We didn't really see any revenue. We provided this free remediation software so we can actually fix a computer for free. And you would pay us $25 for a lifetime license. It wasn't really that hard of a sell, but we weren't getting much traction. And I could have very easily given up, went down to University of Illinois, but something sparked. The month before I'm due at the University of Illinois, we make $1,000, $2,000. Awesome. I'm paying for my books. Bruce is, putting a down payment on his car. We're really happy. The week before I get down here, a $100,000 check arrives. And I've got a problem. I've got a decision to make. Do I put this money into a company and really get it going, or do I go down to the University of Illinois? And I said, why can't I do both? So I get down here, and trust me, my mom shoved me out the door, so it wasn't like I really had a choice, but let's say I did. So I get down here, and I'm pretty new. I haven't even learned how to really program. The University of Illinois taught me all of my programming skills, aside from this 10-year-old language that nobody ever uses anymore. But I met a lot of interesting people along the way. I ran the company out of my dorm room, out of an apartment, and then the most interesting one was a fraternity house. And each of those had its own challenges, particularly maybe the fraternity house. But it was a really eye-opening experience. And the reason we're actually based out of California is because I had a partner that started the operations there. So I told you this very happy story. We're 400 people today, millions in revenue. It's a glowing success. But I'm actually here to tell you the worst day of my life, tell you the story about the worst day of my life. And it was April 15th, 2013. I will forever remember this day. I was actually out in headquarters in San Jose at the time, and Bruce was there for the first time. Not for the first time, rarely he was there. So it was actually an interesting time that he was there. And I'm sitting in my office, and he walks in white as a ghost. I've never seen him more pale. I thought he was sick. Just to give you some background on how our technology works, every hour, several times a day, we send out a file to all of the computers that are running our software. And our software consumes this file. It's a list of algorithms and mathematics and heuristics that help us detect malware. Now, the old traditional antivirus approach was they had to see the malware before they could detect it. They had to see it, and at that point, you are all infected. The way our software was built to predict these things, these events, these types of malware. So we want to actually catch the malware before the criminal picks up the keyboard. And we use this through mathematics and heuristics. Now, sometimes we push this file out and it detects something, what's called a false positive. And what a false positive is, it's just like a medical test. We return a positive result when we meant to return a negative result. So we actually detect something as malicious when it really isn't. Sometimes this happens on documents. It's really a rare instance. It's happened to a lot of antivirus companies as well. On this particular day, we pushed out a file with mathematical algorithms, like I said. And within 8 minutes, we destroyed 1 million computers. Now here I am, trying to be a hero and help people, and I've just destroyed 1 million computers. And these weren't just regular computers. These were 911 call centers down for 48 hours. These were emergency rooms down for 48 hours. No access to patient data. I collapsed. I was a shell of a human being that day. And it was only through my team surrounding me, picking me up off the ground, that actually got me through that day. Engineers picked up the phone and actually called customers. Engineers should not be talking to customers, by the way. But on this particular day, they pulled me through, and it was just a really exhilarating day, and really showed me what it means to be an entrepreneur. Now, when they asked me to do this talk, I sat there and I said, uncharted, what the hell am I going to talk about? What could possibly be uncharted about my life? And I realized that the interesting thing, what's uncharted about being an entrepreneur? The whole damn thing. The whole damn thing's uncharted. There are many books that tell you how to start a business, how to be an entrepreneur. I could sit here and tell you 6 steps, and they simply will not be relevant to you. And Patrick actually had that aha moment on stage. I saw it. He said, screw all that. That didn't help me at all. It was the experiences where I called these professors and fell down several times. And I actually claim that life is being an entrepreneur. You wake up every day and you have the best days of your life. You have the worst days of your life. And you may get married, you may win the lottery, you may lose a family member. And these are the experiences that you really consume, and you wake up every morning the next day and something else happens. And that's really what it means to be an entrepreneur. And I think those experiences are far more relevant than reading a book and getting through it and seeing the 6-step process to become an entrepreneur. I don't think that's the right way. Thank you.